We are officially in the week of the most widely rumored and reported on Nintendo Direct that has still not been officially confirmed at the time you are seeing this video. However, this will go down as the biggest miss for leakers, rumors, and insiders if it doesn't happen this week. And there is enough sourcing on this that for me personally, I am 100% fully expecting it to take place. So if you are in that mindset as well, you may want to know some of the upcoming games that we may be able to expect to be showcased at this presentation, in addition to a quick recap of just how many different sources, journalists, and names that are claiming that this is happening. Just a quick recap of everything that may be there. Some of this stuff is definitely going to be probably coming to Switch 2, but might not be at the presentation. And then we also have some more claims from sources like Nate the Hate that is going to be very heavily third-party focused, and we're going to learn about a lot of big stuff when it comes to third-party announcements. That's kind of what I'm expecting too, but with some big first-party confirmations as well. So we're going to throw all of this into one video. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And to first start off with just how many different sources are reporting that this Direct will take place this week. Thursday looking like the most likely date. Of course, that could be Wednesday. Sometimes these timelines, it might be Thursday in Japan time and Wednesday here. But I do believe that Wednesday or Thursday would be the 2 days, but you first have VGC chiming in with their own report on this, where it says, with release news expected soon, Metroid Prime 4 has been rated. The Nintendo Switch Metroid game still has a broad 2025 release date. And it says, according to a listing published on Friday, the Switch title has been rated for ages 12 and up due to mild violence. Metroid Prime 4 is due to release sometime this year for the original Nintendo Switch, according to the company, with an enhanced Switch 2 edition also planned. According to reports, Nintendo is planning to hold a Nintendo Direct stream imminently, which matches with what VGC has heard from sources, where it's likely to announce an official release date for Prime 4. So yes, this is the one thing that if you want to take it to the bank that we are going to see a certain game in this Direct, Metroid Prime 4 will absolutely 100% be there, and the release date for it should presumably be revealed. I am now expecting this to be, unfortunately, not the September game anymore. I guess there is a possibility that Nintendo could throw a late September date on it and launch it very quickly. But because we are at the end of July, I am very much feeling like at this point, Nintendo's probably actually going to put Metroid Prime 4 potentially in that November holiday slot. Early November, get it on their retail shelves in the holiday season. And listen, this is going to be the big revival and comeback for the Metroid Prime franchise. And I do believe Nintendo has spent enough development dollars on this thing at this point. They want it to sell and be in a massive spotlight, and having it as a November title may actually be a bigger push for the franchise than anybody was anticipating. And it will be very interesting to see how that translates to sales numbers over the holiday season. So we'll have to keep an eye on all of that stuff. This is also the last event, and none of the sources that are talking about games for this thing are reporting on a Prime 2 and 3 thing being at this Direct or being imminent or anything like that. But this is the last event that it makes sense on paper for Nintendo to reveal those games if they are true, because we've been talking about them for years. Not only does it make logical sense for Prime 2 and 3 to drop at some point in the lead up to Prime 4, we saw them remaster Prime 1, and at a $40 price point with a beautiful remaster and quality of life enhancements, I sure hope that Prime 2 and 3 get a similar treatment. It may not be as visually impressive if we are to believe the prior rumors, but maybe there are those shadow drop games like we saw them do for Pikmin 1 and 2, where it's like, here's the rest of the franchise playable in the lead up to Prime 4. I certainly hope that this would be a shadow drop announcement at the upcoming Direct. And like I said, if it doesn't happen here, we're just rolling into Prime 4 with only Prime 1 being released and easily playable on modern hardware. Okay, from here, just to rattle through some of the other sources that are basically suggesting that this is going to happen. You still have Nate the Hate that states again that believes a Nintendo Direct is happening this month. You have a report from the games business that says Xbox is expected to announce Switch 2 ports in the coming weeks. You have Nash Weedle pointing out that the Sea of Thieves official account is tweeting "Oh Banana," which is a clear reference to Donkey Kong Bonanza, and we've had Sea of Thieves rumors for a long time. That is interesting timing from the Sea of Thieves official account to be teasing something like that. VGC heard from their sources that Nintendo Direct Nintendo is having a direct imminently, and Nate the Hate basically chimed in on this same source, just saying, I said a week ago that a direct would take place this month, and I have heard nothing to suggest otherwise. This is the individual that gave us the exact date of the Switch 2 first look trailer, and they have been highly accurate with Nintendo Direct timing over the course of time. If you look at their actual track record, there is zero reason to doubt Nate the Hate on sourcing stuff like this. Nintendo is also having stage data maintenance during Wednesday to Thursday Pacific time, possibly due to a direct during that time. And this is, of course, just a grain of salt thing. Nintendo does do these type of maintenance from time to time, but they need to do maintenance to the eShop and upload some of the back-end data when there is a big presentation. That is interestingly happening this week. So more things pointing to that. Attack the Backlog was actually one of the original sources suggesting that a July Nintendo Direct would take place. He's actually scheduled a stream for Thursday because he says posted a stream link a couple days ago, as you can see, after I was told the Direct was Thursday, and just now I've been told again it's Thursday. Getting excited now. I have also seen sources like Necro Felipe chime in and also say that they're expecting Thursday. So again, maybe it's a Wednesday evening stream and it's Thursday in Japan, but I do think that Thursday is looking like the most likely date. And then, of course, Attack the Backlog doubling down. I've also been told once again that as well as next week's Direct, there will be one in September. Switch 2 owners are going to eat good this year. And yes, I do believe that the September Direct will take place in some capacity, but what we don't know is if it will be a mainline Direct, or more likely in my mind is actually a 40th anniversary Mario Celebration Direct like we saw them do for the 35th anniversary, and we get some of those heavily rumored Mario projects, maybe a Galaxy 2 remaster, maybe some kind of new Super Mario Bros. Collection game. But I think we're going to get something big Mario, whether it just be a port or a remaster, maybe even something in the Mario franchise, like a Yoshi game we'll be reading through a rumor of later, and or, you know, Luigi's Mansion 4, maybe some kind of thing like that in the Mario universe could also be featured at that 40th anniversary September Direct. But this July one would be the big one for all the other impending games. Okay, you also have Christopher Dring over from the games business, who is also suggesting that a lot of Xbox ports were going to be revealed soon. He is a journalist and just saying straight up, sounds like next week's Nintendo Direct is going to be a chunky one. And that literally is just one more source to add to the list here. Nate the Hate believes the rumored upcoming Nintendo Direct will have a heavy focus on third-party games. I don't think every third-party game in waiting will make an appearance at the Direct, but the show should have a heavy focus on third-party. So this is going to be the time where you should expect to see a lot of these rumored ports and missing projects that we haven't seen officially revealed yet to be revealed. And we do actually have one source that we probably remember we reported on as an interesting one because he's a big YouTuber on the platform, doesn't typically leak things, but Beat 'em Ups did actually say that they had heard from a source specifically that a Direct was happening in the month of July, and there were some big games that went along with that. As you can see, this post over from Our Gaming Leaks and Rumors, where the games outlined are Metaphor ReFantazio, GameCube Shadow Drop of Pokemon Coliseum, Death Stranding Director's Cut S, Witcher 3 Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, Metroid Prime 4 release date, and the one more thing is an Isabelle teaser for Animal Crossing in 2026. Definitely a big show closer for a lot of people. A lot of fans will be very excited about that if this leak does end up checking out. And the fact that we are having a July Direct, and this was one of those sources that was reporting it quite a while back before many others. Yeah, it does seem like that list of games could potentially check out if we do see this thing officially announced soon, like we were expecting to. And, you know, just if in case you're unaware, Nintendo can drop the announcement for an impending Direct anytime. Like typically it's 24 to 48 hours, but there is those times where it's literally like half a day and we find out it's happening the next morning. But I do believe that with this being likely a mainline Direct, we will get a 24-hour or more notice. That would mean that the announcement would come out tomorrow or Wednesday for a Wednesday or Thursday presentation. So we don't have to wait much longer to see how much of this is going to check out. You also have all these other ratings. So Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment has now been rated in Brazil. That is, of course, funny timing, considering that we know that this game will be a 2025. Well, actually, we don't know it's 2025. We know it's winter. So it's either going to be at the tail end of this year and or it could be the very beginning of next year. But we're going to get more information on that soon. And it's just popping up that there's a rating hitting in Brazil, which means it's definitely progressing into the final stages of that game's development. There's also this new rumor that popped up as Switch 2 release of Persona 3 Reload was teased by this username that I'm not super familiar with, but as Stealth40k on Twitter notes, They've previously leaked Atlas / Sega games correctly in the past. I'll tell you, there are many obvious ports coming. For instance, keep reloading the news feed. So a tease at a Persona 3 Reload port to the Nintendo Switch 2. Maybe that is something that would show up at this presentation. Nash Weedle is saying Express, a Yoshi game, is coming to Switch 2, codenamed Sunny, and it would use the Unreal Engine again. The first clue suggests that its development began mid last year, but based on material that was reportedly recovered. As soon as I have more details, I'll let you know. So something new from Yoshi. This is one of those that I think could either be in this upcoming Direct and or might be saved for something like the Mario 40th Anniversary Direct that would presumably happen in September. Okay, once again from Nash Weedle, moving on from there, a multiplayer mode for Pikmin is being developed, much more complete and complex than what was seen in Pikmin 4. It will likely be an addition to the highly probable Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and we'll be able to play online via game chat. So a Switch 2 edition of Pikmin 4, I do believe, and Nash Weedle's put this out there quite a while back, but I agree with the mindset. Nintendo's not done with Switch 2 editions of games, and I do think that they're going to continue to handpick a number of Switch 1 titles, add additional content to them, and or just a really big performance upgrade, and sell us that upgrade pack as basically a way to help continue the evergreen sales of certain Switch 1 games, and just get them on a Switch 2 case with a Switch 2 edition with a physical release. It is something that Nintendo, I think, will do quite a bit during this generation, and Pikmin 4 might be the next one to look forward to for a Switch 2 edition. There's this report that Camelot Software is in the late stages of development work. This is the Golden Sun developer, and who knows if it's anything related to that franchise. I don't think it would, as they are also Mario Tennis and Mario Golf developers. And I do actually think we're due for another Mario sports game, so this may actually be more tied to that. And I think that that's also the type of game that would probably be more likely in the September presentation than this upcoming one. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 developer seems to be open to a Switch 2 port. They were interviewed, they're open to it. The entire team was gifted Nintendo Switch 2s for kind of a celebration of what this game achieved. I certainly hope that this game comes over, because even as somebody who is thoroughly enjoying and wrapping up Donkey Kong Bonanza right now, and I've thoroughly enjoyed Mario Kart World, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is legitimately still to this day probably my game of the year. And now Donkey Kong is in that conversation as well. So it's going to be very hard for me because I love Donkey Kong, but I cannot stress enough how good of a story, what the kind of mechanics achieved of a turn-based game that I don't typically get pulled into those gameplay loops as much, and I was immediately addicted to this one. I mean, it really is a sight to be seen and something that people need to play at some point in time. So I certainly hope that this makes it over to Switch 2. I will replay it on the console through and through and definitely cover it here on the channel if we do get that. It's not necessarily something that would be in the immediate future, I don't believe, though. So it might be something that's kind of saved down the line, but it is one of those games that's in the holster that could potentially be coming in the near future, or, you know, at least down the line year or two from now. You also have Liza P developer, which was also rewarded with Switch 2 consoles as a bonus. And that's something that I think will make it to Switch 2 as well. Liza P is very successful from a sales standpoint. It's a great Souls-like, plays a little bit different than the Souls games, very parry-focused mechanic, but it just got DLC, so releasing it as a complete edition on a Switch 2 makes a lot of sense, and I think that that's something else that would come down the line. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has been rated for Nintendo Switch 2, but we do not have that game officially announced. So earlier this year, it was rumored the game would release for Switch 2 at launch. So this would be one that I would think would be in the immediate foreseeable future, probably something that would show up at this presentation. And if it's already been rated, but we have no announcement, and it's probably going to be coming out this year, it's time to get that one officially announced. Nash Weedle has put out a lot of different Xbox games coming to Nintendo Switch 2, and now it sounds like that's lining up to happen. And Sea of Thieves, in addition to Psychonauts 2, Doom the Dark Ages, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Ninja Gaiden 4, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, Call of Duty 6, Age of Empires 2. I think that all of those have a solid shot, maybe not all of them at this presentation, but all of them showing up at some point in time, and many of them may indeed be at this presentation. A new Plants vs. Zombies game has been rated for Switch and other systems, has not been revealed yet. That is on the table of being here. And a big new Kirby game, Kirby Planet Robobot, will indeed come to Switch, it's claimed. This is from Nate the Hate, and he says it would be out in 2025. So it'll find its way to Switch at some point this year. We haven't gotten an announcement, and I do believe that this Direct is the perfect show floor for that to happen. And that's actually kind of an exciting one for me because I never played it on the 3DS, so I definitely would be picking this one up and checking it out for the first time. There are other game leaks and rumors besides the ones we've walked through, but these are a lot of the big ones that sooner or later we should be able to safely expect to learn about. And yeah, just get ready. Once we get that official confirmation, we'll have a breaking news video for that, and we will once again recap some of what to expect at this Direct. But I do think that the list we walked through today, largely a lot of these games are definitely in the conversation of potentially being revealed at this showcase. And we won't have to wait very long at all to find out if these rumors and leaks check out, because we are in the week that the supposed Direct would actually happen. So let me know in the comments down below what games on the list and or ones that we didn't talk about would you most hope to see at the upcoming Nintendo Direct presentation. Are there any of the games that are listed here that really excite you, that you would be a day one pickup and all of that kind of stuff? Are you hoping that Nintendo has some more surprises besides these rumored games, especially from like a first party perspective side of things? And are you personally expecting a Direct to be officially confirmed this week? Or are you somebody who's a naysayer that, you know, maybe these sources got it wrong this month? So make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell. And with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.